Our silence is so disorienting for them. They want us to be mad and scared so bad. And y'all just refuse to give that to them. So here we are with made up stories about mobs of youth taking over the streets of DC with threats to occupy other predominantly black cities. But we predicted this. We saw this coming. We've said that we saw this coming. And so to make this announcement and to do all of this extra just feels a little bit embarrassing on their part. Like, y'all been running the same playbook for 400 years. We saw you coming, guys. We heard you. White supremacy is literally a joke. They know it, we know it, and they know that we know it. They will do anything to hold on to whiteness because without it, they are nothing, and would have to admit that there is absolutely nothing supreme about them, and that other cultures have run circles around them, even with 400 years of a head start and stolen labor. White supremacy, Trump and MAGA are literally the death rattle of white supremacy, and they are fighting tooth and nail to stay relevant.
Hello lovelies, welcome back to today's episode. Some people, they are trying to observe deeper and to check each and everything, to check the signs. They are trying to say people need to be very careful. The fall of white supremacists is coming, is already in place. It's just a matter of time. Guys, let's get to hear these people, the way they are trying to educate us more about it. Drop your thought in the comment section, then we'll come back with more commentaries.
You know, it's been absolutely hilarious the last couple of days watching all these evangelical Christians who all of a sudden care about prophecy and the Jews fulfilling prophecy. And really what it is all their white supremacy is just coming out. Because now all of a sudden, Israel and Hamas and what's happening in Gaza, all of a sudden, that's filling prophecy. And they never cared about any of the prophecies concerning the people that call themselves Jews. Because if they did, they would pick up and they would see that Ashkenazis are sons of Japheth from the line of Gomer and not Shem. And they would see that their whole claim, the whole Zionism claim, is false. They would see that the true children of Israel, according to prophecy, are scattered into all these different nations by way of ship. And that they have spent most of the last 400 years, or most of the latter days, serving their enemies, not the Most High. Their heritage was taken away from them. Even says that in Jeremiah 17 and the prophets 17:4. They have no idea who they are. It says that in the Torah that and the prophets that their enemies would become their gods because they didn't want to serve the Most High. That's how much dominance their enemies would have over them. But now all of a sudden, these people are fulfilling prophecy. Now the white evangelical Christians and those of you that follow them, now all of a sudden these people are fulfilling prophecy. And that's amazing to me, you know, and you just show what liars and hypocrites you are and how you don't follow that book. It's a tool for you to maintain supremacy. And see, what's happening is this is not the Valley of Jehoshaphat. All these nations aren't gathering against Israel because, or what they call the nation of Israel, because they're with the Most High. They're gathering against Israel because they're sick of white supremacy. And the Holy One himself is sick of lies.
My bad if I'm a little late on this. The other night, all Republicans unanimously voted against Amendment 31. Amendment 31 is an interagency cooperative plan to identify, discuss, and eradicate white supremacy within our law enforcement agencies in America. Let me repeat that. Every single Republican voted against Amendment 31. And Amendment 31 was an interagency cooperative plan to identify, discuss, and eradicate white supremacy in our law enforcement in America. Now, why, oh why, would you not want us to identify, discuss, and eradicate white supremacy in our law enforcement in America?
My sheer existence is evidence that the white male patriarchy is dying in this country. As our good friend, That's Rich, pointed out recently in one of his videos, what we're witnessing is an extinction burst of white supremacy in this country. They're fighting tooth and nail and, desperately trying to cling to power and ideology that is inevitably being destroyed. White men now make up about 30% of the population of this country, and out of that, half of them cast a vote for the orange man. Which means 15% of this country are white men that believe in sustaining this patriarchy, as well as many white women that have been conditioned that there's nothing wrong with having their boot on their neck. But there's many, though, white men that are like me that were raised to believe this stuff and more and worse. However, have shifted their focus to be a better, more inclusive future, and one that represents what we truly are as a nation and what we truly need to become, rather, as a nation. I might know it might not seem like it right now, but this is the death of the white male patriarchy. It is inevitable in this country. But I promise you, they're not going to go quietly, and it's going to get darker before it gets lighter. So, we need to stay focused, band together, and fight like hell. But we do that shit, we're going to come out the other side better nation, I feel.
And just as a side note, when they say, don't you know this is Australia in the 21st century? Dear brother and sister, we were all born here, most of us. We don't care what country this is. Let's just be very, very blunt about this. This whole culture of being afraid what they're going to say about us because we're in this or that country has to stop. They need to know that we don't care what they think about us. We need to care what Allah Azza wa Jal thinks about us. You think they have a culture that we're afraid with? They say, don't go against the modern culture, the majority culture. You think they have a culture that remains of theirs? Do you think anything will remain of their culture in 50 years, dear brother? It'll get swallowed up by multiculturalism and waves of migration. You know it, dear brother. The white supremacy of the West is finished. It's yesterday's news. So stop trying to please the white man, as they say. They know that their culture is going down. We need to stop caring where we are and when we are, and care what Allah is pleased with. Islam is the same here as it is over there in any country. So get over it.
Hey, white people, why does having a white majority in this country matter so much to you? We've definitely been able to determine that the reason why, I'm going to say all the policies, but all these executive orders, all of these ideas that are being put out by this administration, all are traced back to how can we keep a white majority in this country? If things stay the way that they are, if demographics continue to move in the direction that they are right now, by 2045, white people will no longer be the majority of this country. We will be less than 50% of the population. This terrifies most white people in this country. And my question is why? I truly don't understand why this is a problem. I don't understand why white people are willing to put humanity aside in order to strive to maintain the majority. So honestly, if you feel this way, that yes, white people must be the majority of the United States, tell me why. Enlighten me. I really don't understand.
White supremacy is dying, but it's not anything to celebrate just yet. And I want to spend the next few moments reading to you an essay that is available in my bio on my Substack about the system of genetic apartheid that is being built to take its place. Final goodbyes. White supremacy is dying, but don't celebrate just yet. To be dying is not the same thing as dead. Personally, I won't celebrate until the whole system is not just abolished, but nullified and obsolesced. I want to see the master's house burn to the ground with my very own eyes, and have a new home to throw a house party at afterwards. Nonetheless, I want to, if not celebrate, remind ourselves how we got here. The mythology of white supremacy has long been enough to deter most white workers from turning to communism as a solution to the conditions of their material suffering. But whiteness is mattering less and less these days if you want affordable health care or even just food in your stomach with these tariffs. As prices rise, people tend to get focused on survival. The mythology of superiority is no longer enough to perpetually distract white workers from the suffering of their material reality under racial capitalism, especially in a world where the class inequities between them and tech billionaires grow wider and wider every moment. And as the gap between rich and poor widens, white folk pushed to the margins are confronted with the fact that their material reality inches nearer and nearer to blackness every day. And as the vantage draws nearer as they approach those margins, so do the contradictions of the color line become clearer. Whiteness has never, in all of human history, mattered less and been weaker than it is now.
The West is under attack, not by bombs or missiles, but through something much harder to defend against: strategy. And it's silent, patient, and precise. China's leaders know that fighting the West head-on would mean mutual destruction. Decades of progress just gone overnight. So instead, they start the system slowly by pulling away the resources, the technology, and the energy that our societies depend on. Take energy. For decades, the dollar was the currency of global oil. That gave the West leverage. But now, China signs 30-year contracts with Russia, Iran, and the Gulf, all outside the dollar. Every one of those deals chips away at Western financial dominance. If oil doesn't trade in dollars, the dollar loses its crown. That's not just money, it's power. Take trade routes. The Belt and Road Initiative now stretches across Asia, Africa, even parts of Europe. Highways, ports, railroads, all funded and built by Beijing. On the surface it looks like cooperation, but in practice it locks countries into Chinese terms. Need access, need repairs, need funding, you go through China. And that's not partnership, that's dependence. Take technology. Every year, China files more patents than the US, Europe, and Japan combined. In AI, quantum computing, renewable energy, they are not following, they are leading. They have generative AI patents, and China filed over 38,000 in less than a decade. The US, around 6,000. So whoever controls these technologies controls the 21st century. And take manufacturing. We like to believe we are still industrial powers, but the truth is, the West outsources its factories. Today, 80% of the world's solar panels, most of the world's rare earth processing, much of the global pharmaceutical chain, all of it depends on China. If they close the tap, our shelves go empty. That's not just trade leverage. That's a chokehold. Even ownership plays a role.
I think white people are disconnected from their spirits, and some men too, because of the patriarchy and racism. I have a theory. Okay, so I made a diagram. Everyone is made up of their mind, their body, and their spirit, right? With me? Okay. So, but your spirit lives inside of here. This is your spirit. But your spirit, or your true self, your spirit is your truest sense of self. But you protect your spirit with your ego, right? With like this projection of your spirit, this version of yourself, this version of your spirit that you project out into the world so that people interact with this ego first. And so if that ego is bruised or hurt or tainted, that is they feel like their spirit is being attacked because it's a version of their spirit, but it is not truly their spirit. But because I feel like the patriarchy and racism have inflated let's make it bigger, shall we? Has inflated the ego of white people by way of white supremacy, and men by way of the patriarchy. Their ego is gigantic in comparison to their spirit, and their spirit has been shrink to this little itty bitty little dot. So here's their spirit now, but their ego is like this. And so when they can't hear their spirit, they can't see their spirit, they don't even know what their spirit looks like. This is why everyone's like, oh, listen to black women are magic, or we're so smart. And it's like, black women, we have not had our ego inflated to the size of the planet Earth. And so we can hear our spirit. We can hear our intuition, which is really what it is. When you're listening to your spirit, you're listening to your intuition. And your intuition is your ability to navigate throughout the world, collect data based on your experiences, based on what you see, based on your five senses, what you feel, and then like how you use them, all the experiences that you have. Whenever you have those gut feelings or like that initial reaction when you meet someone or when you see someone or like that, all of that data that you collected throughout your life, it comes to you in a moment and a feeling, and that is your intuition. Your intuition is really just like a computer processor putting out information, but you can't read through all that information. Your intuition is you're basically the best AI in the whole wide world. You can't read through all of it as a human. Your mind can't process that much information, but your spirit can. And so whenever it tells you something, you have you feel it. You feel like this person is weird, or I'm afraid here, or ooh, but you can't put words to it. You can't explain why you don't like this person, but you just don't like them. Or you can't explain why this man feels creepy because he's smiling, he's handsome, he looks nice, but something about you creeps you out, but the man will be like, I'm not creepy, I'm a wonderful person, and everyone else is like, oh, I'm a wonderful person, he's a wonderful person. And so you ignore that intuition, that spirit, in favor of your ego because he's fine, he's a good looking man, and so you listen to the ego, and then you end up hurt in some way because you didn't listen to your spirit, your intuition. But men and white people, they have had their spirits like shrunk, especially white people, because white people have this like they are incentivized to not be themselves. They are incentivized to not be unique. They are incentivized to consume. Their culture is consumption, and the more you consume, the more you are feeding your ego. Like, consumption is feeding your ego. You can only feed your spirit by like the opposite of consumption. Like, you feed your spirit by like sitting with self, by meditation, by introspection, by like just thinking, just like you feed your spirit by just being. You're like, when you are okay with just being alive, just being here, you find your inherent worth as a human being by just breathing the air that we breathe. That is how you feed your spirit. But when you are consuming, that is feeding the ego. And white people have a consumerist culture. They have this, and they've spread it to everyone. So a lot of people have this more of this consumerist mentality, but men have it a lot specifically because they are rewarded the more they consume, the more resources they consume, the more.
When you try to observe how a lot of people was so excited for this new administration to come in back in office, and the way this time around each and everyone is complaining, regretting each and everything, crying here and there. We never knew things would turn away like this. We never knew we got food. We never knew here and there. When you try to see this time around is how some people, they keep saying, what is really happening? Do you think these things happening is something normal? Do you think it's a coincidence? When you try even to go deeper in the prophecy, in what the word of God talking about America, you try to join the dot of what is really happening on black people, especially black Americans, and the way these people, they have a connection of deep history connected to the Bible, the people of God, the true Hebrews, Israelites from Egypt, from that place. You could see what is really happening right now on this new administration. It is something people need to be care of. It is something which is really alarming. You can't tell whenever we see all these policies coming out in place, whenever we see this nation have a lot of misunderstanding with the foreigner nations here and there, the crisis, the economy, each and everything is starting to shaking, each and everything is starting to look like is collapsing. And some people, whenever they come out to talk something like this, some people, they'll say, oh, this is propaganda. You are trying to discourage people. You are trying trying to bring something which is not for there. But when you try to see, some people saying the white supremacist is collapsing, is falling in a spiritual way, people need to go deeper. People need to take it precaution, to attention to check each and everything. When you see, since this mass deportation started, did you ever thought that after these Latinos here and there being deported, they will come after Haitian here and there, they will revoke some status here and there, because these people, they always can't understand what to do to Black Americans. They don't understand what is next, because these people, they belong here. These people, they have deep history of are connected to America. These people, they can't even take them away, because if these Black Americans, they are no longer on this land of America, there is no more life. When you try to see each and everything, you try to connect the way, they try to push so hard to make these Black Americans feel discomfort on this land. It is something people need to put a question mark. How come whenever these Black Americans, they get quiet, they are resting, each and everyone will feel insecure? Where this insecurity comes from? Why people can't sit down and eat and relaxing with their family? Why Black Americans, whenever they come out to talk about something, it went viral so fast? Why some people, they started to connect with Black Americans? Why some people this time around, they feel to wish, to craving to be Black? After all this expose, you have seen how ChatGPT came out to talk the really origin of Black people, their identity, their true origin, the way Jesus was Black, the way these people, they are connected to the mind of God in a lot of things. And the way this system is always there pushing them away, pushing them so hard to, like a stone, you are pushing to remove, to be removed in one area to another. These people, they can't sleep. They always try to make calculation what to do for these Black Americans. You have seen the way they went in Chicago to destabilize them at 1 a.m. You have seen the way they tried to take army there. In a way, no one even don't know what the meaning of each and everything. And when some people, they try to connect the dot, all these things happening, this is an alarm. This is a sign, means you are not going to see this American you are used to see. This is not something everyone will come out to prophesy. This is something really everyone should see and understand it. You are not going to see that life you are used to have. You are no longer going to see this life, softy life of 70s. No, each and everything is collapsing. But when also we talk about white supremacists falling, it's not something which will come out in one night. This is something we'll take a step by step, because it's a system they put in place to gather all wealthy, to control all nation, to control the economy, the money, each and everything. This is something they are trying, they are fighting so hard to keep in place, because when you try to see how they are tell us that in 2045, some people, they become minority, when right now we see them as the majority. This is something which is giving them a sleepless night. What if the system we built for so long very soon is coming to collapse? What should we do? Can't you see we are having a lot of damages more than solutions? No wonder people are saying DT coming back in office, it was something like by mistake. Everything's happening on earth, it's always controlled by God. If God was not going to put to press something in America right now on this administration, he wouldn't let this man coming back in office. He come back in office to fulfill something. Have you seen, have you ever think that we'll see some white people coming out to cry that their life is at stake, they are losing each and everything? Have you ever think that we are going to see a lot of Black people white people coming to side Black people to say that we are sorry, we never knew that we are God chosen, we never knew that you are supernatural, you carry a lot of powers we have never knew. We got scammed about you. They lied us about you. Have you ever think? See what is really happening. See this cycle of each and everything, how each and everything is moving. Each and every day there is breaking news. Each and every day there is policies. And when you try to ask, no answer. They are confusing, they are mixing things here and there. And the more you keep mixing things without putting them in one line, it's a total collapse, it's a total fall. But it will take some times. It's all already in the process. No wonder when you try to hear what these people they are trying to explain, they are trying to see, check each and everything. Things are no longer the same. You need to be very careful. You need to be prayerful. Guys, let me know what you think, because this time around, I think those people who thought that, oh, we are tired to live on this land, wait, God, this time, God is fighting a lot to put each and everything in place. God is trying to bring back those things people has been stolen from their people, from their community. This is something you are going to see with your true eyes. If you really believe it, or if you really understand the meaning of each and everything. People need to open their eyes widely and see what is really happening, what is keep happening. Guys, let me know what you think about today's episode. Drop your thought in the comment section. Thank you for watching. See you in my next episode.